Under pressure, teams get stressed and team members get stressed. And therefore, as a team leader and a manager, you need to be able to spot the signs of stress and also to help them through it, to move them from being stressed to feeling relaxed again and able to be productive. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video. I'm planning a whole course on stress and stress management, so you'll need to wait for that for some of the more detailed advice. But I do want to speak briefly about how you can spot the signs of stress in your team. And the most important single sign is that something tangible changes, and changes for the worse. It might be absences or people arriving late at work. It might be the type of conversations and the gossip we have starting to turn toxic. It might be more mistakes or lower quality of work, or it might simply be people being snappish in the way they relate to one another. If you do notice these sorts of changes, then your first thought must be, is the team under stress? And of course, at that point, you can start to look for distinctive signs of stress in individuals and in the team as a whole. And if you start to spot them, then you need to act quickly. And when you do act, there are 4 important things that you need to do. And there's a logical order to them as well. And the first is to try to understand the causes of the stress. And typically, stress is caused by feelings of not being in control. There's a lot of things that we might not be in control of. And if you can find out what they are and then start to restore control, you'll be able to fix things. So, the things to look for are feelings of not being in control of time or of workload, maybe of the physical environment. Maybe people feel that they're being put upon by the organisation and are not in control of the flow of information that's coming to them and demands that are made of them. Perhaps people feel that they're being asked to do unreasonable things. There is a clash between what the organisation appears to be expecting of them and their values or their expectations from the organisation. So they're not in control of the culture, if you like. Maybe there are poor relationships within the team or between the team and other people, and therefore people don't feel in control of their relationships either. Or maybe people simply don't feel that they are in control of their lives. Too many choices are being made of them, and they don't have the capability of doing the things that they want to do. Assess the causes of stress, and then at step 2, you need to address those root causes, which is all about restoring control. Now, where you can, restore control to where it is primarily missing. But sometimes that is not possible. The organisation may be, for its own reasons, exerting control on the individuals. It may be that there is a deadline that you can't relax, and therefore that might be controlling people, but you can't fix it. Therefore, if that's the case, you have to give people more control in other areas. If there is a looming deadline, then give people more control about how they structure their work and how they structure their time to meet that deadline. Give them more control over the resources they can draw down. Give them choices. The more control you give people, even if it's not necessarily in the area where they feel restricted, then the lighter they will feel in terms of stress. Of course, if stress has got serious, you may need, even if there is a deadline, to give people a chance to relax, to recharge their batteries. Perhaps send people home early on a Friday afternoon or do a social event with the team. Something that reminds people that their well-being and relieving their feeling of stress is more important to you than anything else. And it should be, because unless you can take away these causes of stress, then what's really going to happen is things will get worse and worse and worse, and deadlines will be missed, quality standards will drop, and mistakes will get made. Once you've started to address the root causes of stress, it's time to move to step 3 and to deal with that in parallel, which is to treat individual cases with compassion. Speak to each individual, find out how the stress is affecting them, and to the degree that it is affecting them, you need to help them to find their way through. If people ask for more time, if they ask for more resources, if they ask for help in any way, or perhaps favours, do the best you can to accommodate them. Be compassionate as well. Simply trying to find solutions for people isn't always the way to relieve stress. Sometimes people just need someone to listen to them and to hear their troubles and for them to unburden themselves. So make yourself available for that. And finally, step 4. Once you've started to properly deal with stress and you can see things getting back to the way they should be, it's time to think about the long term. To find ways to build resilience in your team so that stress has less of an effect on people. This is partly about giving your team more control over its work as a whole and setting up processes and procedures which reduce the stress imposed upon the team, but it's also about giving your team the resources to make themselves individually resilient. Team resilience, of course, is about having enough capacity to take up the slack. But there's very rarely the opportunity to have significant additional capacity within a team. So it must be about giving people the personal resilience, the extra capacity to take on more work if they need to. This is about helping people to understand the importance of rest and relaxation and good food and good exercise, making sure that they have the routines in their life that will make them as resilient as possible to stress. And it's also about giving the team the routines to talk about stressors, to talk about workload, and to talk about how they're feeling so that you can pick up the early warning signs of stress before they start to affect team performance at all. Without a doubt, as a team leader and a team manager, helping your team to cope with stress and to overcome it and to restore themselves to a resilient status is a core part of your role. Please do give us a thumbs up if you like this video. It really helps YouTube to know which videos to give you and who to serve these videos to. And we'll be producing loads more great management courses content, so do subscribe to the channel and hit the bell if you don't want to miss any of it. I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video, and in the meantime, keep learning.